Oh, yeah, it's on. Okay. Good evening. The meeting of the Board of Adjustment for the Borough of Somerville for April 16th, 2025 will please come to order. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act has been that on January 18th, 2025, a copy of the notice specifying the date, time, and location was posted on a bulletin board outside of Borough Hall, given to the clerk administrator, mailed, faxed, or emailed to the Courier News, and placed on the Borough website. If any member of this body believes that this meeting is being held in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act, please state your views at this time. None? These proceedings are of a judicial nature. Only those items on the agenda that we can adjudicate will be heard. All questions will be directed towards those items on the agenda. Proper judicial decorum must and will be maintained. Next item, roll call. Here. Here. Ah.
All right, well, my mic's not working. So Chairman Adair.
Here.
Roberta Carpenets. Here. Morgan McLaughlin.
Here.
Rich O'Neill. Here. Brian Radinsky. Here. John Flores. Here. Eric Alvarez is excused. Ed Allard is excused. And Stuart Daniels is running late.
Okay. Any conflicts? Okay. Next item, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay, next item, approval of the minutes of the March meeting, March 19th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any question? Roll call, please.
Chairman Adair.
Yes.
Roberta Carpenets. Yes. Morgan McLaughlin.
Yes.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
Brian Radinsky. Yes. John Flores.
Yes.
Okay, next item, resolutions. Would you like to read the resolution? It's the title. Riccardi.
I can just speak up if you
Oh,
want.
there you go.
Yeah, it works.
Thank you. The resolution for Riccardi has been distributed to the board. This was a pretty straightforward matter that was approved unanimously. I don't see any, the only one change, and I appreciate the, our board administrator secretary telling me, I transposed the, who would pay for the publication, and I will correct that, and I would simply ask that the board approve the resolution with that one revision, unless there are any other comments on the form and content of what I provided you.
So we'd like to move it with the corrections?
I'll move it with corrections.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Carpenets.
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin.
Yes.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
Brian Vadimski.
Yes.
John Flores.
Yes.
That was such an easy application. I wish they were all like that.
So this is on.
Next resolution?
Okay. 188 West High, Somerville, Mr. Chairman. This is the, essentially the appeal resolution whereby we overturned a decision made by the zoning officer, and that's not to imply she did the wrong thing, but actually she did the right thing because she made the decision and left it to the board to decide, which is what a zoning officer is supposed to do. We determined that the application could be approved, that the application could go forward, and that the proposed use was that the proposed use and proposed application was acceptable. We did not approve the application. In reviewing the transcript, we had a number of questions from members of the interested public wondering if this was an approval of the application. No, this was merely an overturning saying that it didn't need, in conjunction with the building permit. The building permit can be issued, but the applicant is still subject to further proceedings going forward in the development process. If there's any questions as to that, on that one, there's no issue as to, we corrected any issue in terms of, the bearing the cost of publication. And again, it's pretty straightforward, so I don't believe it's something where I don't think the board would have any issues, and unless there are questions with respect to the existing form and content, I would ask that the board adopt the resolution as presented.
Someone like to move it?
I'll move for adoption.
Someone
Second.
Second?
Yep.
Any further discussion? I brought up some points when we were doing this, and Rich and I had a conversation, and Mike and I had a conversation. One of the things we wanted to do with that is to get that out there. Inherently beneficial use is one of those terms that's gonna turn around and bite us in the butt. And I think that we're gonna reach a point where how much is enough? Because right now, we don't know, nobody in this town knows how many group homes we have. And I know that in certain things on my job is considered inherently beneficial use. But the state has come in and said, yes, you can have a cemetery if it meets this criteria.
Right.
You can only, and you may not have more than 5 per municipality, and it may not take up more than X amount of acres or percentage of the acreage. If they can put the cap on this kind of business, I think they need to take a look at inherently beneficial uses. How many group homes or how many cell towers can we be hit with?
Well, we've been discussing this. I mean, I'm chairman of the Municipal Land Use Law Drafting Committee, and that's an issue that often comes up before us. It's a problem. I mean, one of the problems is that we have, on the the MLUL at section 66.1 essentially, takes a lot of the authority of the board away, and federal law, federal decisional law, and federal statute law also, kind of removes a lot of I don't want to say wiggle room, but a lot of discretion from the board to control or otherwise limit some of these kind of uses. So, at this point, we can only do what we can do within the bounds of the MLUL and federal law. Do I think it could be a problem? Yes. This is no different than what we discussed back in the day when cell towers were considered to be inherently beneficial uses. And ultimately, there was some pushback on that, and so they still basically, that can be a contestable issue.
Right, Belmar's doing that.
Right. And the problem at this point is, and admittedly, the draftsman, I'm one of them, but we've tried to make changes, and the legislature really doesn't want to do anything. They're definitely subject to the concerns expressed by interests representing, disabled, obviously the disabled and the developmentally disabled, those people who would need housing like this, in the case of what the use is here. The question is how far you go. The joke always is one of these days we were going to have adult bookstores as inherently beneficial uses.
I thought they.
No, we're not. Well, I think that was probably by dint of the development of the internet, because people do things in their own living rooms now. But there's always discussion. That issue with electronic vehicles. I mean, that's been a real, very contested issue.
We're doing that now.
Yep. We're dealing with it now, and of course, we're dealing with it even more given some of the controversies that surround electronic vehicles. So it's something. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot we can do. The most important thing, I think, is that we make sure our legislators know that this is not a good idea, and we don't want that. Or, in certain instances, I don't want to sound like no uses are inherently beneficial, but, I think we have to be far more sensitive as to what's in there. As Bill Cox said, God rest his soul, he used to say, inherently beneficial can also mean inherently dangerous. And that's kind of where we are.
I know.
I mean, that's not to cast aspersion on what we did at 188 West High, Somerville. I mean, that was a good use, and a valuable use, and it's in the hands of, people that we've worked with. But not everyone has been like that. We know that.
Well, fortunately for us, even though we can't use that as part of our approval, is that the last 3 or 4 that have come before us were all private corporations that were paying taxes.
Right.
If we had
Correct. That's correct.
18 of them that weren't paying taxes.
Well, yeah, I do think, that was not the deciding factor for the board here, but, to some extent, it does make a difference because, from a municipal policy standpoint, a rateable is preferable to a non-rateable.
Yeah, especially with a town like Somerville, with
Yep.
40% of our property being tax exempt. Okay, it's been moved, seconded, we've had discussion, roll call, please.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Carpenetz, Morgan McLaughlin,
Yes.
Rich O'Neill,
Yes.
Brian Vidimski,
Yes.
John Flores.
Yes.
Okay. Next, or application, 106 Vets.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Bruce Rosenberg, on behalf of Emmanuel Ventures LLC. You have the plans, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is an application to demolish the existing building that's on the property. It's about a half mile up the road. I'm sure you've passed it and you've seen it. This is a dilapidated property that really should be demolished and should be the subject of redevelopment. What Emmanuel Ventures is proposing to do is construct a duplex on the property, which is consistent, we believe, with the intent and purpose of the redevelopment plan for Veterans Memorial Drive, and would be a nice addition, we believe, to the corridor between this area and what's going on and what has been going on for the last several years in terms of redevelopment. I have 2 witnesses this evening. I have Christopher Dougherty, he's our architect, and I have Paul Ricci, our land use planner. And if I may, I'd like to call Chris Dougherty, our architect, first. And I believe, Mr. Gibbons, everything has been previously submitted to Mr. Bacon in
Yes.
terms of our notices and everything else.
The board has jurisdiction to proceed. Mr. Dougherty, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record, sir.
Okay, my name is Christopher. Last name is Dougherty, Doughgerty. I reside at 1 Iron Forge Square, Unit 25 in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. I have been a registered architect in the state of New Jersey now for 29 years, and have offered testimony before about 15 to 20 boards during the course of my career.
You've been here before, haven't you?
I may have.
I thought you had.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Dougherty, I'm going to ask you to, I guess if you want to set up your easel, although everything has been uploaded, but if you want to, testify from the boards,
Can I make use of that one? I believe I have a damaged leg on this.
okay, sure.
Absolutely.
May I?
Yes.
I would also know, I'm familiar with Mr. Dougherty. I'm the zoning board attorney in Pequannock, so I'm familiar with your work and reputation.
Oh, well,
You're very good. Michael.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is a exhibit, it has been uploaded. Everything has been uploaded to the system. And Mr. Gibbons, I don't know what your druthers, if you want to mark it or not, it's all in the record already. It's been updated.
Now, you submitted all this with your application?
This was not. This is the only thing that has not been submitted, Mr. Gibbons.
For the record, I'd like to have that marked as applicants A1.
Thank you. So referring to applicants A1, Mr. Dougherty, just if you would, I know the board members are all familiar with the property, but this exhibit sort of shows the property and its surrounding land uses. Is that correct? Yes. So maybe you can just review with the board, going in a clockwise direction.
Can you do me a favor and just take the standing microphone and speak into the standing microphone? You could take it off the stand.
We okay with this? Okay.
You sound good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, basically what I did was kind of did a walk around through the neighborhood where the proposed work is going to be done. This is directly across the street. This is a residence that goes down. I have forgotten the name of the street that it goes along there, I'm sorry. Looks to be a two-family. I'm sensing that in walking around, I noticed that there seemed to be a mix of single-family and two-family residences in this area, south of where the large condo buildings are located.
That would be the Cobalt,
Yeah.
is the closest property.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Veterans Memorial Drive going southeast. This is the residence that is proposed to be removed. This is the steel business that's right adjacent to the to where the property is. It's been mentioned to me that there was an effort to purchase some land from them. They turned it down, but I am assuming that this is still active.
Yes, it is.
We have another residence which is right next to it going north towards where the condo buildings are located. And this is a corner property right over the corner of Hamilton Street and Memorial Drive. And if you, obviously going straight down, you would see where the train tracks are located. Any questions on what I have here? No? Okay. Just continuing on here, I went up to the corner of Veterans Memorial Drive and Hamilton Street. Again, this is the mixture of residences. Thank you, Edward. That continue on down Hamilton Street away from the property. Northeast view along Hamilton Street. This area seems to be pretty well established. It's been there clearly as that residential use for quite some time. Looks very stable. And then these are the two large condo buildings which are directly north of Hamilton Street, roughly above where the property is going to be located. So we have a mixture of single family and two family and the like below Hamilton Street, and these larger condo structures going above.
Thank you. And just if you would go back to the first sheet, and I just wanted to ask you to state for the record, if you would, you heard my opening statement, just the condition of the existing building, even if you can call it a building.
It's a mess, and the entire property is a mess. It definitely needs to be completely cleared out. I made it clear to the clients that, we're looking really at a total tear out of the property, foundation wall included, so.
Very good. So let's, if we can, go to your, sheet of the first set of plans you submitted and just review with the board what it is that the applicant would like to build here.
And these were previously submitted, as I understand.
They were,
yes.
Mr. Gibbons. All of these have been previously submitted with the application.
Just want to get that on the record.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, as I mentioned, it will be a total tear out of the existing structure, and its replacement with basically a duplex, okay? 3 bedrooms, 2 of them. The owners are looking for something that would be, immediately available, also accessible to train service that is nearby. The owners requested that we have just a basic layout, including, just a living room, some office space down on the first floor, kitchen, powder room, and then upstairs, decent-sized master bedroom, and 2 other bedrooms on each side, only 1 bathroom per unit. There was no study given to putting a master bath in at all. And then finally, parking underneath the duplexes, okay? It would obviously be tandem parking, so there would be obviously some coordination as to who's getting in and who's getting out. We understand that. The site is only 50 by 50 in size, 2,500 square feet. It's quite tight, but we felt that this was the best way, obviously, to deal with getting the cars off the street, since there is no on-street parking allowed in that area of Veterans Memorial Drive.
Very good. Can you refer to your other sheet about what the elevations and what the duplexes will look like, please?
Basically, they're basic units, the both of them. There will be vinyl siding, okay? Here are the 2 garages at grade level, slight upgrade to bring them up above street level. Skim coat plaster just to cover the exterior walls thoroughly. Slight overhangs to give some relief to the, so that they just don't look like, it just doesn't look like a box with some glass in it. So the owners agreed to go with this type of a format where we have bedroom windows upstairs here for the master, and then down below, these would be for the living rooms, the garage down underneath. It's basic design. It's obviously restricted by the site conditions. Couldn't get too much more creative than this, but this is really what we're looking at here.
Okay, and have you spoken, I know Mr. Coles in his letter questioned the colors and things like that. Have you spoken with the applicant about kind of color schemes that you're looking at?
I have not, but this would certainly be an issue of some, as I said, the design aspect of it in terms of what it looks like will be very straightforward, as you can see by the elevations and also the
But
plan.
there's not going to be anything unusual like bright pinks and
No.
yellows and nothing like that?
No,
It's
no.
going to be subtle, it's going to be consistent with other architectures in the neighborhood, correct?
Yeah, we will definitely look to fit it in. I see the basic color schemes of a lot of the buildings in and around, the residential buildings in and around the area.
Well, yeah, you've got about 14 with the same color scheme in the neighborhood, especially the one right next to it.
Yes,
And there's 14 more like that.
okay.
With the same color scheme.
That would be the intent, Mr. Chairman. I think that we would be harmonious. Again, we recognize that we're on the redevelopment zone, and we want to be obviously consistent with all of that. How about mechanicals, Mr. Dougherty, or where are they going to be located? Would there be any issue whatsoever?
We'll have compressors on the exterior, okay? They will be sound, we will make them nice and quiet, okay? They will be in the back area, such as what's available to us. And air handlers up inside of the attic space. There will be some attic space that will be accessible from the second floor on both units, on both sides. And, we'll have basically a split system for both units.
Very good. And again, in your opinion, I mean, you were tasked, were you not, by the applicant to try to develop something that's going to be affordable to folks, right? Isn't that the intent?
Yes, yes.
And within walkability, obviously, to
Yeah.
the train station, and in your opinion, as an architect, do you think that this is architecturally and aesthetically consistent with other properties that are on Veterans?
I believe that it is, yeah. And I believe it should follow a basic mode. We stayed 5 on 12 as far as the roof slopes go, and really, it would be consistent with should be consistent with what's going on here. I mean, I saw vinyl on other buildings throughout the area and similar types of, window handling and design and the like.
Very good. In reviewing Mr. Cole's letter that we were provided with, one of the questions he did ask was with respect to this maneuverability of the cars. From your perspective, I know you designed it, and, do you think that we could still operate this safely, efficiently in the way that it's been designed?
Well, I mean, I believe so, yes, but it is tight to the sidewalk. There's no question about it. And we could be open to coming up with some different ways of making sure that the safety concerns for the township are satisfied for the borough. I mean, we this was just sort of like the fast fly-in to get the 2 cars in there. Now, what we can do in terms of providing additional safety controls in that area, we will certainly explore that. As I said, it's unfortunate that we've got, a tight situation here. And I tried to keep the rooms, without getting out of hand as far as their sizes go, to be basic and, something that somebody would want to move into, okay, in both instances.
Very good. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I have nothing further of our architect at this time.
Anybody from the board have any questions of the?
Yeah, I do. My concern is the garage.
Rich, can you just turn your microphone on? Thank you.
I think it works, yep.
My concern is the cars backing out. That's a major walk route for kids going to our grammar school from that end of town. They're all going out there, on that side of the street, as a matter of fact, for the most part. And I'm concerned with a car backing out of that driveway, hitting one of those kids. And also having to back out onto Veterans Memorial, which looks like a peaceful little road in your pictures, but we all know better. Someone's going to get clocked. And I'm not sure how you can manage that. I'm not being critical of your design. I'm just not sure how you can manage that. I don't know.
Duly noted, of course, yes. But as I said, we will, I don't want to think on my feet right now relative to that, so.
I understand that. Like I say, I just looked at the plans. I know the area fairly well, so as all of us do. And that's a heavily traveled walking street on that side of the street in the morning and then back in the afternoon. And they're little kids. So it's just a concern.
We understand, and we certainly can work with the borough and township in terms of trying to address that issue specifically. I think it is certainly a concern of ours as well. If there's some way to maybe, push this back or push this further in, maybe have not both cars underneath to provide better visibility, I mean, that might be something that we certainly could look at in consultation with Mr. Cole as well.
Anybody else?
Yeah, but am I reading this correctly? You want to go from a required 25-foot minimum rear yard to a 3-foot rear yard?
Yep.
Yes,
And then you're going to put, you said you would put the compressors in the back, such as
Yeah, I mean-
such as the room is available?
yes, I mean, that's, I understand your concern, yeah.
And you're going from a 15-foot minimum front to a 6-foot. I mean, is there any yard space?
No.
No, none to speak of.
So you have a 3-bedroom house. I'm gonna presume that perhaps there would be someone there with children. What do you do with the kids? Go out and play in the street?
We did.
I mean, yeah, but it wasn't Veterans Memorial when you were there,
It
Art.
was Franklin Street.
Roberta, can you just turn your microphone on for me, please?
I'm sorry.
No worries.
So I think this is to me, very concerning. No backyard, no front yard, no side yard, and you want the cars backing up where the kids walk. I got some problems with, and it's not a reflection of your professional design work. I'm not, it's, to me, it's like the proverbial 10 pounds of sugar
In-
in a 5-pound bag.
I use a different word.
Sugar?
Well, we are being recorded. Gentlemen.
Sorry about that.
So I don't know if I have a question in there, but that's my comment. I'm very, very concerned that this is possibly overly ambitious for the size of the lot. And I understand what you're trying to do, but maybe it's a little too much.
Bruce, you might want to take a recess on this right now.
Sure, absolutely. May we have a 5-minute recess, please?
Certainly.
Sure.
Can everybody just turn their microphones off
Mike,
for
do you
now?
need me? Good evening, Mr. Daniels. Good evening, Stuart. Maybe they should pull it out and try to redo the plan.
Ready?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Second
Thank you for
session.
Thank you for the opportunity to adjourn for a little bit. We've obviously heard, two major comments from the board members, and I think that we certainly would like the opportunity. We're not going to sit here and draw changes on a plan. We don't do that.
No.
However, in an attempt to try to make sure that when we come back, we have addressed all the concerns that the board members may have, is it possible just to make sure that we, hear from the other board members of any other concerns they may have? We've heard the two major concerns, which are the issue of vehicle, ingress and egress from the units, and the issue about the size of the units themselves, in terms of setbacks and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But generally, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure we get other comments that the board members may have, so that we could come back, we can have a productive meeting with the board.
Board? Stu? I know you're coming in late, but.
Speaking into the mic. Yeah, I think in review honestly, the setback is one of the biggest things. I mean, there's no way around it. Veterans Memorial is already a narrow street as it is. As you're going towards East Main Street, I don't see how it's going to be safe for, especially for a two-car garage each side, for two cars to be able to go in and out safely on that street. Overall, looking at the size of the apartments, I mean, I don't see too much. I don't think we have enough room for a backyard, right?
There's no backyard, there's no.
At all, right? Yeah.
Very tight.
Even as it's configured right now, Stu's backyard's like 8 or 9 feet long.
Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to see where we would be as far as, a living arrangement for a family. I mean, we do have the park right down the road.
The park is right down the road, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely true.
Right, it's right down the road, but, those are some of my concerns as I'm
Thank you.
coming in late. Thank you.
Brian?
Yeah, that's basically it. I know, yes, it needs to be done, something, obviously.
Yes.
Replacing what was there, a small single family would be the best way to go, but then you wouldn't have to be here. So I get it. It's the same old thing. Trying to maximize what we can get out of it. I understand that, but I just don't know if, I'd hate to say yes to something or the way it is, that's for sure, but, that's really the concern, is just, can this even happen? To put 4 cars, 2 families on where they step out into the street almost that's the impression.
That's the setback issue,
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, it's.
Understood.
I think the backyard, like you said, it's already like that, so people grew up there with no, and at the park down the street, that's not such a big deal for me. It's just that falling out onto the street is what hits me.
Understood.
There's no street parking, no on-street parking.
Yeah.
Verda?
I just, for me, I understand why you want to put a two-family there. I think I understand the property has some restrictions, but I think it's our job to try to make things better. And even though the backyard now maybe, or a while ago was 8 feet, now it's going down to 3 feet. Our job is to make sure a really good project goes there that will be beneficial to families. And I would support Brian with the idea of a nice single-family house. I know that doesn't have the same financial benefits as a two-family, but I think it fits better on the property.
Chief?
Well, I think I pretty much said what I was concerned about, pedestrian and vehicle safety, and the garages are a big concern. The absence of a backyard and all that kind of stuff, it's not good. It's not a good quality of life for anybody, but I'm more concerned about the pedestrian and vehicle safety.
Thank you.
Sure. So you used the term, Counselor, affordable. What was your definition of affordable? You said this was designed to be affordable.
Oh, obviously, as our architect testified, you know, this is meant for folks who are middle-income folks. That's who it's for, middle-income folks. Single family, one income, two income, that's what it's designed for, sure.
Okay.
You know, these aren't going to be, you know, $750,000 duplexes that nobody can afford.
They're affording them right here.
Yeah, without- you know.
So a couple things, yeah. The vehicle safety, that is an accident waiting to happen. It's not just with the kids walking. That's a very, very busy street. It's the offshoot of parallel to Main Street, and it's going to get busier and busier. It's a cut-through street. We see it all the time. The other thing is, I will make a comment about the architectural design of the building. It's really unappealing, and I'm sorry if I'm critical with that, but when I look at it, I look at the building next door, the one that had been renovated, and again, that's very unappealing. It doesn't look like the homes in Somerville that we would really like. And I will throw this out. Roberta mentioned something about a single-family home. You know, in certain areas, and I believe it's California, I was reading that they have these little mini homes, very, very small homes. And it would probably, well, it still would need a variance because of the location. But I think you would be able to get a rear yard, you'll get a side yard, you may even be able to get a driveway that would go next to it. That would be a little bit more appealing and a little bit more safe. Now, economically, it may not be the right thing that you're looking for, but the property is what it is, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, the garage and getting out of the garage is my primary concern. I'm thinking of the morning where the person who has to leave is the one parked further in, so then one person has to back out onto the street, wait for the other person to back out, and then pull in. In the meantime, there are people trying to run that yellow light to get to work, and it's an accident waiting to happen, and I can't support that. Regarding single family, dual family, I've spent a lot of time in Astoria, Queens recently, and like it's all properties really close together. They fit a lot into a small space. I appreciate one that we're trying to do something there, because something needs to be done there, for one. Two, if 3 feet, a 3 feet backyard may as well be a 0 feet backyard. There's nothing that's going to happen in a 3 foot backyard. You can't play pickleball, you can't play anything back there in 3 feet. And I would have more of an issue with that if there wasn't a park right down the street. So if there's a way that we can make the parking safer and sacrifice something else in order to make that happen, I appreciate the angle to try to make it affordable too. So again, my concern is primarily the safety.
Thank you.
When I was walking through there this morning, it brought back a lot of memories that none of those properties have much of a backyard. One of the problems that I do have is with the underground garage. I remember when the International Sheet Metals building was being built back in the 1950s, and as they were digging, they were coming up with water. It has a high water table and flooding. So you're going to have these underground garages. These cars are going to be submersed in the next Ida, which is coming again. The other thing is, I appreciate the capital investment in the neighborhood. I've been part of this neighborhood for all but 2 years of my life, and as I said, I used to live next door, and my aunt owned the duplex next to it. They're like 90% coverage, 95% coverage. And there are, as you go through that neighborhood, many 50 by 50 lots or equivalent sizes with maybe we can go with a smaller home, smaller single family. But I'm concerned about the parking, entrance and egress, and, because when I was growing up on that road, it was much wider, or the road was more narrow. You had more of a setback. When I was there this morning, you have 6-foot setback to the sidewalk. That's dangerous. And in the backyard, when you open the door, you're trespassing on somebody's property in the back. I'd go with a smaller mini home. I couldn't support a two-family, 3-bedroom with only one parking space per car. The other thing with that neighborhood is that it's reaching a tipping point. It's in an R2 zone. And with all the multiple family dwellings that have been going up and are being proposed, we're at the tipping point of making it R3. And we're losing the character of the neighborhood. I've just go around the corner 2 doors down, that's 5th generation in that house. And down the street, the Moore family. When I was in there talking to my friend, and his grandson went by, I said, he's 5th generation in this house. So we're losing the character. I'd like to see the capital investment, as they're doing right around the corner as you go under the bridge, putting a brand-new single-family home there. And I'd like to see more single families. That's my concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much for all the input. We obviously have a lot to think about, and we would ask, we don't have obviously a carry date because we have plans that have to be revised, and we'll go back and caucus with the developer.
Is there a deadline in terms of, because you filed and we've commenced, do we need an extension of time?
Oh, we can give that extension, Mr. Gibbons. If you need a letter, I can get it to you tomorrow.
I'm trying
On the
to, our next
120
meeting is the
days.
21st, so. Mr. Secretary, do we have a date on this?
August?
Yeah, our next available meeting as of right now is in August. So I would say if you could put it through August 30th.
August 31st, you
August
don't
30th.
mind, yeah.
Thank you for that correction.
So
Thank
we're
you
going to
very
adjourn this until the August meeting?
Yes, yeah, we could do that.
Someone like to move that we adjourn this until the August meeting?
I'll move it.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
Thank you very much. We will reconvene and work on some plans.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rosenberg.
Okay, what do we have next? What do we have next, Ryan?
Executive session.
Okay, so we want to move that we go into executive session. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yeah, we might as well, yeah.
Do we need a roll call for executive session or no?
I thought I just,
Okay.
yeah, we do, we actually do.
Right. And
Chair-
you take notes, we don't have a, transcript of it.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Karpenitz, Morgan McLaughlin, Rich O'Neill,
Yes.
Brian Verdimski,
Yes.
John Flores,
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
We are. Yeah, we are. Yeah, I got no problem with that as long as you can do it safely, Rich.
At least on one of the applications, it's on both, so.
Oh, into the executive session? I don't know, that's up to
No,
you.
no, 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 no.
No, this is, we're gonna come back on the phase session, yeah.
You know, 2 ice cubes and one.
Someone shows up
much talking.
I had no doubt.
Always exciting, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's chilly out here. My coat's back in there.
You know I was far, right?
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Oh, just, unclick them both.
Downtown Metropolitan.
They should be both, they should be yellow.
You know I'm colorblind, right? Okay.
Are they red or yellow on there?
I'm colorblind. Oh, okay. Okay.
Excuse me.
Ready? Okay. Someone move that we come out of executive session? Move in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay. Someone like to make a motion to dismiss?
Can everybody just turn their microphones on so we have this all on record?
Okay.
I will move that we dismiss this application without prejudice.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, Ryan?
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Karpenitz,
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin,
Yes.
Rich O'Neill,
Yes.
Brian Vidimski,
Yes.
John Flores,
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
Was that a yes, Duke?
That was a yes.
I thought you were auditioning for the Temptations. Okay, it's carried.
We have another one on, don't we?
That was related to 610 Bell Avenue.
It's on the agenda.
Why don't we, just to be safe,
Would someone like to move for dismissal without prejudice for 610 Bell Avenue?
yes, I would ask that that be done.
I will move that we dismiss without prejudice the application, oh, sorry. I'll move that we dismiss without prejudice the application for Bell Avenue Holdings at 610 Bell Ave.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Karpenitz.
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin,
Yes.
Rich O'Neill,
Yes.
Brian Vidimski,
Yes.
John Flores,
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we have another,
205, Mr. Chairman, we have 205
Sheriff?
Charis for dismissal.
Someone like to move for dismissal for 205 Charis?
I'll move it.
Moved, second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, why is it being, just so we all know why it's being dismissed?
It's been carried for a year and a half, and there's no date given for when they're gonna reappear.
Okay.
essentially for failure to prosecute.
This is the Granite's building
Right.
that had the adult daycare on the first floor that was heard in October of 2023. We never got through the testimony because the applicant's attorney had a medical issue. They've asked for continuances ever since October 2023. It was scheduled, Ryan, 2 months ago, about 2 months ago, and they asked for a continuance today or the day before the meeting, and it was taken off.
Okay.
Again, this would be a dismissal without prejudice.
It's been moved, second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Karpenitz,
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin,
Yes.
Rich O'Neill,
Yes.
Brian Vidimski,
Yes.
John Flores,
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
Any further business to come before the board?
We have one item, 340 Union Avenue. There is the applicant, I think there's drawings in front of everyone. This is the 5-unit townhouse at 340, which is on North Alton and Union. There is a request to leave a utility pole in place and that would require a driveway. If you look on, I do believe it's shown as sheet 4, with a revision date. If you look from David A. Stiers Associates, 3/20/25, they would require the driveway to be curved to allow the utility pole to stay. That would mean they would have to back out on a curve. You'll see it, and it's the second to last house heading south on North Alton. You'll see the curve, which the original design was relatively straight. So I do believe it's a 4.5 foot at the property line. It would be a deviation 4.5 feet for the curve. So the applicant is requesting, I think there's a, Ryan, isn't there a description that was in the package from?
Yeah, there should be 2 11x17 packets, one stapled, which shows the proposed change, and the single sheet is the original approved plans.
Thank you, Ryan.
So it's this second unit from the top.
It's,
Yes.
if you're heading, no,
That's,
if you're heading, it'd be south, but in the plans, heading up on the street south.
Okay.
You'll see the curve in the driveway as opposed to the original plan. So you have a curve, basically to eliminate, keep the utility pole where it is. Because PSC&G, my experience has been, is very costly, and it takes months to get a pole moved.
and it doesn't look any worse than the one just adjacent to it, the curve.
There's one curve that the board approved. That would be the one the board approved is, well, depending on how you look at this, it's the third in. It already had a curve in it.
Okay.
So basically, it'd be another curved driveway to eliminate a pole. So that's the deviation. It doesn't involve any variances or other waivers. It's a site plan. It's a deviation from the field conditions. So there's no other relief required for this move, or proposed move.
Can it be done safely?
I think it can. It just becomes a little inconvenient to back out on an angle. I mean, you're backing out. If you don't do it, you're gonna get in the grass or something. So as long as you pay attention and turn the wheel, you're backing down the driveway. It just has a curve in it.
Mike, you said it's expensive. How expensive?
That's a good question. I thought that the applicant provided a paragraph on the description. I do believe it's in the thousands.
It is.
Thousands.
But it pales to the value of the project, and they knew about this for a long time.
Yep.
They knew about it right at the beginning. I don't think that we should.
Yeah, this is the request. It's up to the board's pleasure. You could obviously leave it the way it is, or allow the driveway to be curved with the one driveway. It's up to the board's discretion on how to handle
And
this.
if we allow it the way it is, they have to move the pole.
Yes, the pole would have to be moved about 4.5, 5 feet, so the driveway would be relatively straight. Otherwise, the pole stays and the driveway gets a curve in it. So, it's up to the board on how they feel about this.
Board, how do you feel about it?
I would just say, to me, in the interest of getting the project moving along, not having to possibly inconvenience anybody else that has anything connected to the utility pole, just approve it and move on. We've got like other big, really big stuff to deal with. That would, it seems like it's relatively minor to me. But I, also defer to all of you who have more experience than I.
Morgan, I would like to hear why you would say no.
You don't, people, everybody's gonna back out onto that street.
Right.
And, when we approve this, now you have 5 driveways backing out onto Alton Avenue. And it's very, very close to Route 28. And
Yeah,
curve
I got it.
coming back out, I just think is ridiculous. And again, I fault the planner or the designer on this. They knew it right at the beginning. They should have seen it. And if they wanted to do it at that time, they should have came to us at the beginning. And it's probably gonna cost, I have a little bit of experience with this, it'll be about $5,000. So it's not cheap.
No, it's
but
not
again,
cheap, but
it pales to the.
yeah, it's de minimis.
cost
The
of
overall cost.
Development.
And also, I mean, just to add to that, having it curved that way makes it more difficult to exit the driveway and head away from Union Avenue. It makes it a more acute angle. A straighter angle is preferable.
Can't sell that house to my daughter, I'll tell you that.
She's never gonna leave.
But this is Stiers, right?
It's, Stiers was
He's the
the engineer, I forget who the architect is on this. If you've been out there, the townhomes are up, they're framed,
Yep.
the roofs are on them. I'm sure he's looking to complete this year.
No, I hope so.
So, he's bringing this, the applicant's bringing it up because obviously if the pole has to move, he's trying to, PSC&G typically takes months to do these type of activities. So that's why it's coming in front of you now. Either we make the request, pay the monies, or leave it alone. That's why it's right in front of you now. It's something that he needs to know now what they're doing.
Yeah, I would probably side with Morgan on this because Stiers is an engineer that's very familiar with the town. There's no excuse.
But should we punish?
Can you turn your microphone on for us?
Sorry.
No worries.
But should we punish them? Or should we just let the project go forward? It'll be done, people will be moving in.
I don't see it as punishing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would bet you that it will be done pretty quickly.
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah. You know, if this was a single-family home that we approved, that's a lot to bear on a single family. This is a 5-unit development that, yeah, it's a minor expense. And it doesn't cost them anything to ask you to do this, right, Mike, to bring it up tonight?
I checked the ordinance, and there's no waivers, so the process is, I think this board, we typically do walk-ons. So
Right.
back to Morgan's question, no, there was not one penny for the applicant. I told him to submit the plans, a narrative, and we'll put it on the agenda at the next meeting. The chairman was good with that, and this board is very receptive to entertaining these types of things on the fly without submitting an application, paying application fees. The
Right.
board never, the policy of the board is, if the deviations don't require additional variance, we try to accommodate this, like this process.
Isn't this the
Essentially
second
administrative amendment.
Right.
deviation? This is the second deviation for this project, I think. Didn't we have one for their utility connections?
We had an issue with the sprinkler system.
Yeah.
With the shed.
Yep.
We got into an issue about a 13D, which this board did not want, versus a 13R, which covers a lot more. A 13R system requires a separate line.
Yeah.
So the board deviated for that because it wasn't on the plans.
Right.
They put a mechanical room on the end of one of the townhomes, and the board granted that as a de minimis
De
field
minimis
change
exception, essentially,
to
yeah.
accommodate the sprinkler system. So, Rich, you're 100% right. This is the second request on a deviation from the approved plans. That's correct.
Is it anticipated there'll be any further changes?
I hope not.
So I make a motion that we deny the request.
I'll second it.
It's moved and second. Any more discussion? An affirmative vote is for denial. Roll call, please.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Karpinitz,
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin,
Yes.
Rich O'Neill,
Yes.
Brian Vadimski,
Yes.
John Flores,
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
It's carried. Any other business coming to the board?
No, Mr. Chairman, I think that's, Cliff.
I don't think there's
I
anything
that's the
further. I
whole
think we-
agenda.
You can still get home and watch Chicago Fire.
Unless, Mr. Chairman, you have comments for the board?
Bring it for next month.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Moved and second. Someone want a second? Richie second. All in favor?
Aye.